So guys, this video today is titled, I'm sorry if. So I really want to take the time to apologize to you guys. I'm really sincerely sorry if any of my older videos ever caused you guys to acquire more than you should have. If you ever found yourself in a place of just terrible excess where you just were swamped with so many items that you didn't know what to do with them, that they were expiring, that you were having to get rid of them. I'm sincerely sorry if any of my prepping hauls ever encouraged you to purchase more than you actually needed, because that is not what I was trying to do on this channel. That was not the goal of this channel. The goal of this channel was to prepare you guys for any possible things that we could encounter that we would need to have extra provisions for. It wasn't to foster this idea of having so much that we couldn't possibly use it all or get through it. So I am really deeply sorry if I caused any of you guys to trip up in any way. So I was questioned many times why I stopped showing all of the prepping haul videos that I did. And it wasn't because I felt like I was at risk in any way. It was because I realized that it was turning into an addiction for me. It turned into a case of what could I buy next that was going to wow my subscribers? Was there a new product that was out that would pique their interest? And when I realized what was happening, when I realized what was going on, I justified it. I kind of gave myself a free pass. I asked myself these questions a couple different times. Are these products that my family is even going to use? Is this stuff I even really need? And I was just like, well, I can just donate it. I can give it to somebody else who needs it if we don't get to it in time. But was that really being benevolent? Was that really being helpful to another party? Or was that just justifying my own selfishness with the appearance of being generous? And guys, these are the kinds of questions that we really have to ask ourselves if we're going to operate from a place of sincerity, is not allowing ourselves to go do what we want to because we think that it's okay because, well, it might help somebody else out. If that's not really the motivation, then that's wrong. So my prepping got completely out of control, guys. I'm not even going to lie about it. It started off with simple stocking up and just making sure that we had some extra things in the house, and it eventually took over my entire house. And the worst part of it is that I encouraged my mother to get on board with this thought process as well. And she began stockpiling at an even more rapid rate than I was. And we were empowered with this idea that we would acquire enough supplies to live out of our home without even having to leave it for at least 2 to 3 years. And when I say this out loud, guys, it sounds even worse to my ears. And I know many of you who believe in stockpiling for many years probably are not going to understand this. And I'm hoping that someday that you will. But I have to be honest. Why would we ever want to come to a place where we have turned our homes into a prison? Why would we think that it sounds good to never leave our homes or interact with the outside world for years? What kind of an existence would that really be? And let me be very clear, we very much made this goal. I never showed you guys these areas because I thought that I would somehow be at risk, that somebody would want these supplies, that I would become a target. But we very much made this goal. We came to the point where we had supplies stocked everywhere. I had them crammed in every single closet, under every bed, and I had some large closets in that home. My one closet in my master bedroom was the size of a small room just by itself. It was probably a good 12 by 10, and that was crammed with supplies as well. The basement, all of the unfinished spaces were packed solid with items. I even had created a third pantry, guys, not 2 pantries, a third pantry in that study room, which you guys could clearly see behind me. And it was one of the areas that I did actually share with you guys. We had also acquired at least 400 cases of water in the basement. And I know this sounds absolutely crazy, probably to some of you, and maybe to some of you guys think this is normal and this is what we should be doing. And so why am I sharing all of this with you? Is it so that I can show off and brag about my prepping or the thousands of dollars that we wasted? No, it's to help you guys not make the same mistakes that I did. So I really want to leave you guys with some questions that think you need to have at the forefront of your mind. And if you want to go ahead and grab a piece of paper and write these down, I would encourage you to do so, because I think it's very important that we hold our feet to the fire and are honest with ourselves. So please be careful when you start prepping, that you are very, very real with yourself, that you ask yourself these hard questions. What am I prepping for first and foremost? How long am I prepping for? Is this really the life that I want? And that's a big one, guys. That is a huge one. You have to answer that for yourselves. You can't just look at what everybody else is doing and think that is the life that you want. Is that the life that you want? Not what they want. What do you want? Am I willing to live in an extremely cluttered life where everything is hidden from others who enter my home? If you have people over all the time and you have areas now that are completely blockaded off, you can't even hardly have them into your home at all because it's just taken over, there might be a problem there, and you might want to look at that. Am I really going to use everything I'm stockpiling before it gets to the best by date? I know we've justified in the prepping community a lot that nothing ever really truly expires when it comes to canned goods and all of these other items, that we can use them way past the best by date. And that's all good and well, but that really isn't the way that we should be practicing our lives. If we're going to be honest about what God would have us steward, then He would not encourage us to keep a bunch of old canned goods just because we want to keep getting more and more and more of something. We need to be able to build them into our regular eating supply and cycle through them before those dates. Do I actually eat the foods I'm stockpiling, or am I trying to impress someone? And is this the best use of my financial resources? This is a big one too, guys. This is something we really have to ask ourselves, because sometimes we can be stockpiling up all of these things, and if we're not using them and we're having to waste them or donate them or give them away to somebody else because we didn't get to them, then that probably wasn't the best use of our financial resources. We probably could have used those dollars towards paying off a debt, or taking care of something else that we should have, or even just enjoying our lives a little bit more. So the other thing is that it's really vitally important that you map this out before you get started. And then, guys, make this a habit of revisiting these same questions at least once a month. I think that's going to be really important, because it is so easy to get sidetracked from your original goal, or to allow yourself to take a detour down a different path unknowingly. And whatever you guys do, take the time to seek the Lord about your prepping. What does He want you to prepare for? What plans does He have for you? And does your prepping line up with those plans? Always, guys, it's going to be His will before our own. And sometimes He has to strip us back down before He can build us back up. Before I close, I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not telling you guys not to prepare. That's not what this video is about. I think it is a good idea to have a growing season, or even 2 stocked up. So that looks like 6 months to a year's time frame. What I'm asking you guys to do is to be a good steward over everything that you are blessed with, and not allow anything to consume you or cause you to trip up. We still have to rely on God, not just ourselves. You know, we can't do this life in our own strength, no matter how much we prepare. And preparing in the Spirit is always going to be more profitable than preparing in the flesh. God bless you guys, and continue to pray, prep, and put God first.